webinar, but it's great to be here with all of you today. This is such an exciting topic that we are going to be able to present to you. And we're really excited to focus on an area of great interest and concern for so many people out there. Those are GLPs, or glucose-like peptide agonists, and the recent buzz around their use for weight loss. Now, GLP-1s are medication whose names you are probably more familiar with than GLP. Those are things like Ozempic, Wegovy, Trulicity, Saxenda, and more. And in today's session, we are going to discover what these medications are, how they work, and the importance of nutrition in combination with medication usage and long-term weight loss. So much of the knowledge that we are going to share with you today will be helpful regardless of medication use, need, or preference. And we're really excited to share all of the good stuff about this topic. Our intention here today is to provide you with current, well-rounded, and impartial information so that you can make informed decisions about your own health and well-being. But before we get started, I'd like to let you know a little bit about what you can get from attending our webinar today. So from joining today, you'll have a chance to win your choice between a $250 Amazon gift card or our Healthy Habits bundle, which includes some Pyrex bento boxes, which are perfect for meal prepping and staying on top of your nutrition goals, and a Fitbit Versa. And all you have to do is book an initial or a follow-up visit with a registered dietitian today using the code WAIT in the promo section. Plus, if it's your very first visit, you'll also get a $15 gift card upon completion of that visit. So I encourage you all to take a second and book a registered dietitian visit using the link that Lindsay will drop in the chat. I see she just dropped it there right now. Thank you. And we will remind you about this throughout the webinar and drop that link a couple more times for you and at the very end. And if you have any questions about dietitian visits, the giveaway, feel free to enter those in the chat throughout and we will answer those questions for you as well. So now let's get into all the good stuff. To begin, let's go over our agenda. First, we're going to discuss the mystery of weight loss. Then we will discuss what GLP-1 medications are and how they work. After that, we will debunk myths about GLP-1s and share the facts that you all want to know. And we'll start to wrap up by sharing tips on how to create success with nutrition regardless of medication use, and share some considerations before starting or considering medication changes. Now, each of us approaches the journey of weight management with a unique set of motivations and goals. For some people, it is a journey of enhanced health and vitality. You want to live life to the fullest. You want to check things off that bucket list and enjoy every second of this crazy life in this crazy world we're in. And for others, it's about embracing confidence and self-expression, really feeling good in the one body we have, feeling good in the skin you're in. And for many, it's about seeking that harmonious balance where physical well-being intertwines with emotional wellness. But no matter your reason, we know that your journey is valid and that it is heard and that it can be really hard. And we hear that too. And we're here to provide you with the knowledge, the tools, and the unwavering support that you need to make informed decisions that align with your individual needs and your goals too. So now let's take a moment to reflect on some well-established strategies for weight management. We're talking about those approaches that have stood the test of time and those that you've heard us talk about before, things like dietary changes, exercise, and behavior modification. These strategies have formed the foundation of countless success stories, and they continue to play a really crucial role in achieving and maintaining a healthy weight. However, we do need to acknowledge the fact that weight management is challenging. The road to success in this category of health and wellness can be time-consuming, it can be frustrating, and ultimately that can lead you to feel discouraged, disappointed, and sometimes give up altogether as a result. But why is it so hard? That's the question I get over and over again as a registered dietitian. And I was just talking to a colleague about this and was reminded that nutrition and weight research is so recent. You know, sometimes I forget that nutrition science is a more recent field of study, and there's so much more to learn. And there's so much happening in the field of science right now, which is really exciting. And so over the years, there have been a lot of efforts by scientists and health professionals alike to find additional tools or solutions to help people on their weight loss journey, upping the likelihood of success overall. And that is where GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Saxenda, Wegovy, etc., started making their way into conversation. They're an example of something that is newly developed that can be utilized for various reasons, and we will discuss those shortly. Now, as you see on the screen here, there are so many factors that impact our weight-related goals. Things like your medical history, your schedule, career, relationships, mental health, medications, activity intake, and more. This list is extensive for a reason. They all play an important role in your health and your wellness. To succeed, I cannot stress the importance of keeping every part of who you are in mind when you have a desired health goal, not just thinking about diet and exercise. All of the other factors, the ones here and the ones that aren't even captured on the screen, ones that are really unique to you, they matter and they need to be considered. And now, before we go into the GLP alphabet soup, it's really important to recognize that weight management isn't just about shedding pounds. It's also about fostering a sustainable and balanced lifestyle that keeps your body and mind at the forefront of your well-being. And I want to highlight too that while we're talking about weight loss today, weight loss isn't necessary or required for everyone, and neither are medications. Everyone has different goals, genetics, preferences, and needs, and those need to be addressed from a personal level. And if weight loss is a goal, we hope that the knowledge that we're going to help you learn more about today will help you feel like you aren't alone and you have all the support you need. Lindsay, I'm going to call on you because I know that this is something we talk about a lot in the space that we work in. And I think something that's really special about Foodsmart is the community of support that we have here and how important support is when you are embarking on a new weight journey or a new health journey, right? It's just paramount to have good people in your circle, in your corner to help you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, this entire list here and more are all factors, as it says, that determine the weight loss approach that's going to be most effective for you. And so because it's so highly individualized, having someone with you every step of the way as things change or as, you know, things aren't working and you need to adjust, like having guidance and having support along the way is crucial. And also from a kind of just emotional support perspective, you know, weight loss or kind of any kind of big body goals or changes is challenging, and life gets in the way, and you have events and things that you want to do or no motivation and just so many fluctuations. So having someone who can emotionally support you there as well is also incredibly important.
Yes. Oh, I love what you said there, Lindsay. And that is really important too. We all think like, oh, if I was just a little bit more disciplined, or if I was just one of those people who could, right? We all say that if I was one of those people who can have good habits and who can just seems like they have it all together and they're really good at making routines. If it was that easy, a lot of us would be able to accomplish the things we want. But it's not just about motivation and routine and repetition. It's about really addressing every part of you, being okay with some of the things that maybe aren't as easy for you, and finding solutions and ways around it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and exactly. And what we hope through our conversation here today is that we're going to show you how combining dietary adjustments with regular physical activity, mindful behaviors, and truly good quality support from the relationships in your life, from health professionals, et cetera, can promote holistic benefits that not only help you meet your goals, but also go beyond the numbers on the scale too. And so as we proceed, just keep in mind that different strategies work for different people, and the key lies in finding what resonates best with you. So now let's shift our focus to a newer aspect of weight management that's been generating a lot of interest in recent times, our GLP-1s. Now, these medications are garnering a lot of attention, not only for their potential in aiding weight loss, but also for broader applications in health and well-being too. So GLP-1s that stands for glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonists. We don't have to remember that. We'll continue to call them GLP-1 medications or GLP-1 agonists during our webinar here today. But they've gained a lot of popularity due to their effectiveness in addressing type 2 diabetes. Now, these GLP-1 medications were designed to mimic the action of natural hormones in the body, which help regulate blood sugar levels, which we will talk about more in just a couple slides and a little bit later in our webinar too. And because of the interactions in the body from these medications, they also promote weight management, making them particularly appealing in healthcare, where weight and diabetes often go hand in hand. Now, this combination of benefits has propelled the popularity of GLP-1s, making them a cornerstone in the management of type 2 diabetes, and in some cases, even for individuals without diabetes who struggle with weight management alone. Now, these medications have not only gained popularity in the medical community, but have also received a significant amount of attention in the media, which is probably where you first heard about them. And as more success stories emerged, the media took action and fast. Commercials, social media posts, celebrity endorsements, you name it, started popping up everywhere, making them a frequently discussed topic of conversation across the whole country. And media attention and celebrity endorsements often spotlight exceptional success stories, but create unrealistic expectations and potential disappointment. Incomplete information or downplayed side effects, whether intentional or not. Sometimes people are just so excited about their success that they forget to mention all of the other things and pieces, because we are all human. That can lead to inadequate decision-making or uninformed decision-making. And comparing yourself to celebrities, to these individuals who have had great success, that can foster feelings of inadequacy, encourage risky behaviors, and lead to things like extreme dieting, which we know can be really harmful for our health. And furthermore, this media influence can overshadow the importance of consulting with healthcare professionals. Most of the people who you see on the media who are using these medications have a team, a very large team of healthcare professionals backing them. But we don't often see that. And that can lead viewers to self-diagnose or self-prescribe and potentially risk their health. And that's exactly why we're taking the time to discuss this topic today. So now let's get into more about what these medications actually are, shall we? All right, so these GLP-1s, again, that stands for glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonists, are a class of medications. So there are all different medications. Some of them have different alphabet soup letters in their title, GIP, GLP, but generally we're just going to be talking about GLP-1s today. And this class of medications operates by mimicking the effects of naturally occurring hormones in our bodies. The hormones known as GLP-1, so that's the actual hormone is called, plays a vital role in regulating blood sugar levels, primarily by stimulating insulin release and suppressing the release of glucagon. And glucagon is the hormone that elevates blood sugar levels. So I think of GLP-1s as a hormone, kind of like the Superman. The alert goes up, GLP-1 goes and kind of calms everything down without anybody being none the wiser. And when GLP-1s are introduced in the body, they really do act like a catalyst for different mechanisms that happen really, and they do it really seamlessly. And that results in improved insulin production, which enhances the body's ability to utilize glucose from the bloodstream, so the sugars from the foods that we eat, more efficiently. And by facilitating glucose uptake and reducing the release of excess glucose, these medications contribute to better blood sugar control, particularly in individuals with type 2 diabetes. These medications have a really fascinating impact on appetite control and on metabolism as well. And that can lead to weight loss in certain individuals. And when GLP-1s are introduced, they really react with receptors in the brain as well. So it's not just insulin in our bloodstream, but really interacting with all of the receptors and messengers in our brain that regulate our appetite and our satiety or feelings of fullness. And that interaction results in not only increased feeling of fullness after meals, but that can also reduce your appetite overall and also slow the rate of stomach emptying. And by enhancing these physiological responses, these GLP-1s can naturally lead to a decrease in caloric intake over time, which, when combined with a balanced diet and physical activity, can contribute to weight loss. Now, it's worth emphasizing that the effectiveness of GLP-1s can vary among individuals. Factors that we talked about earlier, things like genetics, existing medical conditions, and lifestyle and habits can influence the impact on weight loss and blood sugar regulation. So that's really important to keep in mind as we talk through our next slide. So now I want to discuss the role of nutrition with GLP-1 medications. This is something that's often missed in popular media, but is really important. So you see we have 3 categories here: before, during, and after. And all 3 of these are so important to chat through today. When it comes to before taking a medication, this is the area that people forget most frequently. You prepare for a marathon, a big vacation, a change in your life. You know, we get ready, we prepare emotionally, physically for the holidays even, right? So why not prepare for a big change in your diet, in your weight, or in your medication? As I said, we so often overlook the importance of setting up solid habits and getting our support teams lined up before we make a big change. And we often wait until there's a crisis to start figuring things out, connecting the dots, getting a team of individuals lined up who can help you, et cetera. So today, one thing I really want you to take away from this is think about setting yourself up for success, medication or not, as necessary and not optional. That is so important. So now let's talk about the why as it's related to our GLP-1 medications. So creating successful eating habits prior to adding a medication to your life will help stabilize your blood sugar before you make a big change. Now, why does that matter? Well, understanding what your stable baseline is will allow you to notice when changes or shifts happen in your body as it reacts to weight, medication, or metabolic changes, which means that you'll be quicker to respond, making changes that will drive success. If you aren't as in sync with your body, it can mean that when changes happen when you're on a certain medication, that you're spending more time playing detective than you are making the adjustments needed and getting back to it. When we are in the medication phase, so during medication use, we want to make sure that we continue understanding our body's cues and that we are working with somebody who can help take note of those and then make great informed decisions about those. The big goal during medication use is to minimize side effects of medication, and we'll talk about those in a moment. And we also want to make sure that we are enhancing the medication's effectiveness. We want to make sure that we have a balanced diet. Key is balanced, that we add in lean proteins, and that we don't forget about hydration. Now, when someone is on a GLP-1 medication, it's best to consume a generally balanced and a generally healthy diet. And that means when we talk about proteins, lean proteins, we also mean all the other wonderful things that come along with a balanced diet. I think we hear about proteins a lot when it comes to GLP-1s, but I don't want us to forget about things like our whole grains, dairy or dairy alternatives, inappropriate fat contents to match your preferable quantity and quality. So for some individuals, that might mean low-fat dairy is best. For other individuals who maybe don't have a lot of dairy or dairy substitute, doesn't have to be one or the other. If you don't have a lot, your quantity is much less, then you can afford a little bit of a higher fat content. It really depends on you, your goals, etc. In addition to those things, we also want to make sure we have healthy fats incorporated in our diet, fruits, and non-starchy vegetables too. Now, why is protein such a hot topic of conversation with these medications? Well, it's one, because we often don't get enough protein into our diets as it is, medication or not. And two, protein really helps to stabilize blood sugar and promotes that feeling of fullness that we talked about. Proteins also do something really unique, which is they work synergistically with the appetite regulating effects of GLP-1s. There's also some emerging research too that highlights the importance of adequate calcium paired with quality lean proteins to promote success. And that's why we talked about dairy or dairy alternatives and vegetables, non-starchy vegetable consumption, because those contain calcium too. While using Ozempic or any other GLP-1 drugs or medications, it's really important to know that side effects may occur. Things like nausea or GI upset are the most common. A main function of these medications is slowing down gastric motility and digestion. So you are going to feel more full after eating less. And one great tip to stay on top of proper nutrition when taking these medications is to incorporate small, frequent meals throughout your day, working with a dietitian or healthcare professional to help you determine what you should be having at those meals, and staying hydrated to avoid constipation and general dehydration is so important. Also, generally making sure that you're eating enough. Just because you aren't feeling as hungry doesn't mean that eating a well-balanced meal isn't extremely important, if not more important, when on these medications. Now, when we talk about after, we want to remind you that your nutrition choices play a really significant role in maximizing the benefits of your GLP-1s and overall health. And afterwards, we want to make sure that we are maintaining the health improvements that we have gained from our medication use, but we also want to make sure that we continue those healthy habits, because just since we've lost weight or we've had great changes to our blood sugar or A1C because of a medication doesn't mean that it will stay that way forever and always. You will still need to be watching what you eat, maintaining really healthy habits, and continuing a lot of the healthy habits that you learned when you were taking the medication. We want to make sure, most importantly, that we decrease any weight rebound. That's one of the biggest complaints when people stop taking these medications, is that they gain their weight back really quickly, or that they're really, really hungry and they can't stop eating because their appetite has changed so much so fast. And so we want to make sure that we're decreasing that weight rebound and finding healthy habits. There are lots of great ways that we can impact how hungry and how full we feel just by the ways we eat, the times we eat, etc. And we also want to make sure that when we are balancing that nutrition and we are managing that we're doing so not just to help our weight, but also our other levels of nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and our blood sugar in our bodies. So we want to make sure that this drastic change in our diet and our medication and our metabolism is appropriate to meet the needs of our blood sugar. So our blood sugar is not going too high or too low. Those are some really important things to look at after. And this partnership in general, before, during, and after medication and nutrition, can set the stage for a really holistic approach to weight management and well-being, as we noted. And a registered dietitian or other healthcare professionals are really, really important to partner with to help you guide yourself and to help guide you along the way with tailored support that maybe you uniquely will need. Everybody's going to be so different with the way that they react and the way that they feel on these different medications. So now, as with any topic, there can be misconceptions and misinformation circulating out there. So let's take a moment to address some of these myths, and we're going to set the record straight for all of you here today. So myth number one is that GLP-1s are a magic solution for weight loss. Well, while GLP-1s can be really beneficial for weight management, they definitely aren't a magic solution. They work best, as we discussed, when combined with a balanced diet, exercise, and other healthy habits. It's not a quick fix, but I want you to think about it as a tool that can assist in your health journey. They're just not a shortcut to success, rather a way to help you complete a balanced lifestyle. And this, as I keep saying over and over again, and you'll continue to hear us say it, this is such a unique process and journey. Often we see in media that it looks like it's the same process for everybody, but it really is not. So tailoring your nutrition to meet your needs, tailoring your medication use as according to your healthcare professionals is really, really important, and will always lead you to better outcomes than when you try to do everything entirely on your own, as your own detective and own Google researcher, if you will. Our next myth is that you can eat whatever you want because of GLP-1s because they replace the need for healthy eating. And the reality here is that nutrition is a cornerstone of overall health. And while GLP-1s can influence your appetite and your metabolism, they're most effective when they are paired with nutritious food choices. And so while they enhance that effect of a general healthy diet, they just cannot replace the importance of nutritious eating. And while they do control appetite as well, it's still essential to make mindful choices for your overall health. Remember that nutrition isn't all about our weight, and nutrition isn't all about our blood sugar. It goes beyond weight loss. It goes beyond that. Think about all the great things nutrition does. It fuels your brain. It gives you the energy to move. It gives you muscles to be strong. It helps you sleep. There's so many things that wonderful diet and nutrition and interventions there can do. So think about nutrition from a more holistic standpoint, and that will help you whether or not you're on medications before, during, and after as well. Our next myth is that these medications are only for those with diabetes. And like we talked about before, GLP-1s were initially used for diabetes management, but their benefits have extended to weight management for non-diabetic individuals too. They're not exclusive to one condition, and they can be considered for specific weight goals. However, it is important to share that GLP-1s aren't just limited to specific weight loss goals or certain weight categories either. They can be considered for individuals who have various weight management goals, not just those with extreme concerns. And that's really important to discuss. Consult with a healthcare professional to see if there is a suitable option for you. And if this is something that you're considering, but you aren't sure where to start, or you're not sure what to do, or even what questions to ask, don't brainstorm and don't do it all on your own. There is support out there that can help you, and Foodsmart is a great resource for that. A registered dietitian is a great person to brainstorm with, to just chat these sort of things through with, look into things, be the detectives together, and then you can take the information that you've learned and go to your doctor and have a really informed conversation without feeling like you're having that conversation in the dark, which can be overwhelming for a lot of people when they're in their doctor's office asking about medication changes. And of course, GLP-1s will work the same for everyone is our last myth, which shouldn't surprise you because we've been saying this throughout our webinar, but it's worth noting that just like any medication, the effectiveness of GLP-1s varies greatly from person to person. Those factors that we talked about before, genetics, lifestyle, medical history, can influence their impact. And these medications should be looked at as a tool that might work well for some and not as much for others. And the things that really do impact the medication effectiveness are things that you see in our nutrition notes: the timing of intake, the foods that we're eating, beverage choices, activity, sleep. So many different things are really important to consider when taking these medications that will change the way it works from one person to the next. So finding somebody who can really analyze all of that for you is important. And it's really crucial overall to discuss your medical history, your habits, your medications, lifestyle, and be really honest with the healthcare professionals that you're meeting with before starting a medication so that they can help align what's best for you. And one more thing we really want to lean into is just that importance of an individualized strategy. Everyone is going to be different, and that is absolutely okay. And we do know, and I want to say here at this point in our webinar as well, that means we fully understand just how hard this can be, how hard weight loss can be emotionally, physically. It is something that if it was the same for everybody, it would be so much easier. We would all know exactly what to do, when to do it, what the exact key for success is, but it just isn't that way. And having an individualized strategy, therefore, is even more important, whether on a medication or just with weight management in general or overall your health goals. And then I just want to remind you as a result that we are here so that you don't have to do this alone. We have Foodsmart registered dietitians available 7 days a week, multiple hours a day, morning, noon, night, so that you can meet with somebody to get unbiased advice, personalize your meal plans and your goals and activities to your unique symptoms, conditions, and really provide the quarterbacking and the support to be successful. And just a reminder that if you schedule today entering the promo code WAIT, you get entered into our drawing for the webinar today for either a $250 Amazon gift card or our Healthy Habits bundle with the Pyrex bento boxes and the Fitbit. And if you schedule with an appointment with your RD today, you get a $15 gift card as well. So we'll drop that in the chat for you too, as a reminder. And now that we know a little bit more about what those medications are, what our GLP-1s are, should you consider them? Let's talk about some key things to think about and ways to create success now and later. First, we want to consider nutrition as a holistic approach to health. And sometimes when I say this, I get some eye rolls, and I completely get it. It's such a simple and common sense thing to say out loud, but sometimes those are the hardest messages for us to internalize. Weight is only one component of health and isn't always the most telling piece of our wellness puzzle. And I encourage you to think about what goals you have beyond weight management. Thinking this way allows you to manage your stress, your expectations, and find balance when working through challenges. And while weight loss might be a goal for you, and that is valid and important, it's likely your unique health blueprint beyond that, that includes other conditions or concerns that you want to keep in mind too. And a dietitian or another healthcare professional can consider these aspects of you and make sure that you're eating to reach your goals without sacrificing your health as well. And I always like to think, what goals do you have beyond weight management? That's one of my favorite questions to ask. You know, weight might be a great thing, but why? Is it because you want to travel more? Is it because you feel uncomfortable? Do you have other career goals that are really important, et cetera, et cetera? All these different things are really great to think about when you are making a change to your diet and to your lifestyle. Next, we want to discuss long-term healthy habits when it comes to food and nutrition, and think about what habits will be helpful along the journey of health and wellness for you. While GLP-1s can certainly contribute to weight management, the journey just doesn't end there. So developing healthy habits and behaviors is crucial for sustainable success. And these habits include things, but aren't limited to, things like mindful eating, regular physical activity, and positive relationships with food. And by focusing on these aspects, you really are setting yourself up for a journey that extends far beyond the use of medications and far beyond even the goals that you're setting for yourself today, and sets you up for great goals and achievements in the future as well. Managing your metabolism is so important as well when considering these medications. So during weight loss, our metabolism can really take a hit as it gets used to receiving less and less energy, especially with these medications where your appetite is decreased, your cravings are changing, and as a result of receiving less energy, your metabolism will downregulate to burn less energy too. You don't bring in less, that means your body needs to use less. And if you stop taking a medication or stop any other kind of diet, it's not limited to medications. If you make a really sudden and drastic change and resume eating quote unquote normally, or eating a diet similar to your pre-medication diet, or you incorporate different foods into your diet really quickly, your body will grab onto that extra energy, often in the form of extra weight. And your body's really just trying to help you, but you've made such a big and drastic change so quickly that it thinks that there's some sort of crisis, and it often will hang on to that. It's the easiest way I can explain it. And that can lead to really frustrating yo-yo dieting effects. And we've all heard those over and over again, and maybe even experienced them themselves. A dietitian can help to guide you through a more managed approach that will help sustain your results, and also can work with you to make sure that you are gradually making changes that help and strengthen your metabolism, because it is possible, versus harm it and make it harder for you to succeed. There's a lot of emerging research, which this is really encouraging, and I was so happy to see this. There's a lot of emerging research that our metabolism doesn't shift and change as we get older as much as we thought that it did. It's just that our willingness to, and our time, our ability with careers, life, family, et cetera, to be active and to eat well, the way we think about that when we're very young and the way we think about that as we get older changes in the time that we have. And so it's not as much our metabolism itself, which does change, but it's not as much about that as the habits that we have. And for me, that's really encouraging, because that means that with the right help, the right support, really learning your body and knowing yourself means that you can actually be successful, that there isn't some metabolism monster working against you all the time. Yes, it's always going to change and shift, and you're going to have to adapt to that, but it's not always trying to work against you. And that is encouraging. And the next thing I want to talk about is adapting. We've all heard the old saying, it takes 21 days to form a habit, or repetition is key, be diligent and you'll succeed. Well, while that is sometimes true and can be true for a lot of people, that usually backs us into a pretty dark corner we can't get out of. And sometimes things just don't work out, and making changes along the way is not only okay, but extremely beneficial. And when you're on any health journey, especially when medication is involved, don't wait to ask for help if you aren't meeting weight or blood sugar goals. Maybe you aren't feeling like yourself emotionally. You find that you're more irritable, you're very upset all the time, and you just don't feel like you. Maybe you're having symptoms that impact your ability to complete tasks, or they're impacting your quality of life. You're feeling really hungry or really full, and more. Those are just a list of a few options. And so often people are afraid to ask for help for two main reasons that I hear. One, they're embarrassed, they're afraid, they're frustrated. They don't want to take the time to go out of their way to ask for help for something that they should be able to figure out on their own. And that really comes back to being rooted in fear and anxiety. Or my second thing is that they're worried that their trusted provider or confidant will take away their opportunity to succeed. They will immediately stop their medication. They will say, I guess this isn't for you. And what I want to tell you, and what I'm here to remind you, is that a provider who cares for you and meshes well with your personality wants you to be happy and succeed. They will find a way to make adjustments that works well for you. And there are so many ways to adjust. So many. Your providers do want to see you succeed with or without medication. And if you're working with somebody that just doesn't understand you or doesn't mesh well with you, it's okay to reach out to somebody else. It doesn't mean that you are saying anything negative about a doctor, a provider. It just means that maybe you need somebody who fits better with you emotionally. Maybe you need another opinion so that you can fully understand what's going on. That's absolutely okay and encouraged. So don't let the fear of somebody taking away your opportunity scare you from asking for help, because that is when accidents happen. That's when errors happen. And when you can really put yourself in a situation that makes it harder for you to succeed or creates more problems for yourself. So as we continue our exploration, I want to discuss why nutrition is really, really important for weight loss and overall health as we start to wrap up here. First and foremost, don't sacrifice your health for overall weight loss. Prioritizing overall health through balanced nutrition is paramount, and I cannot say that enough. These medications can enhance the effects of a well-rounded diet, and that's what we want. We want nutrition and medication to come together harmoniously to ensure that you're nourishing your body with a variety of nutrients while changes are happening. Next, understand the risks and the benefits. So while we've covered how GLP-1s can be helpful in achieving weight loss, there are some documented side effects. Those GI upset, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, other GI pains are a few options, but there are some other ones, and there may be additional ones based on medications you're taking, conditions that you have, your lifestyle, and so on. So really looking into the risks and the benefits with a healthcare professional is important. That ties right into number 3, consult with your doctor. So looking into the risks and benefits on your own is important. Being your own advocate is huge, but consulting with your doctor is key here as well. And in a lot of the webinars we do, we will highlight that, the importance of your healthcare team, because they are truly the professionals, and we want to make sure that we are consulting and checking in with them so that we are not doing any harm to ourselves. But when it comes to medication, that is even more important, and that's why we've brought it up so much today. And when it comes to any health-related intervention, any medication, any big change, collaboration is important because they know your medical history, they know your conditions, medications, anything that you might be doing that could have an interaction with the change in your medications in your lifestyle. And they might catch something that you may not. That's really important. And by engaging in an open dialogue, being honest with your doctor, making sure that they're being honest with you, developing an important and close relationship, you can address concerns, potential interactions, and ensure that GLP-1 medications are a suitable option for you. And then 4 is bring a dietitian on board. And again, I, as a registered dietitian, value nutrition and know that nutrition is magic. It's a superpower. It is something that we can all control and that we can all look to for support and for help. And I always stress the importance of seeing a registered dietitian. But when it comes to medications like these, the reason we've brought it up so much is because the level of importance here is so much different than in other topics of conversation we have had on webinars before. Having somebody dedicated to understanding and customizing a nutrition plan that is supportive of your goals, your needs, your preferences, what is important to you, can help you lose weight healthfully and teach you the tools you need to sustain your results. We talked about after medications, there's so often a rebound of weight or a massive change in blood sugar for the worse. And we want to avoid that so that we're not taking away all these successes from the medication and all the hard work that you've put in. And an RD can help to ensure that that's not the case for you. And in summary, as we near the end of our webinar, and we're going to pause, leaving plenty of time for questions today, I want to reflect on the significance of long-term success when it comes to weight nutrition and GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, Trulicity, etc. We don't just want temporary results. Nobody just wants temporary results. We want long-term sustainable change when it comes to weight and to our health. And our hope is that this webinar gave you all of the tools that you need to better understand what these medications are and how they work in the body, who to talk to for support, who to ask questions to, what questions you should ask, and what to be mindful of when it comes to food and nutrition. So let's go through our summary quickly. Our first note here is that GLP-1 agonist medications mimic naturally occurring hormones that control our blood sugar, and that results in a controlled level of hunger and fullness, digestion changes, and has also been shown to be effective, therefore, in weight reduction. We know that nutrition is vital for success in overall health and weight loss, regardless of the medications that we choose or don't choose. And creating those healthy habits is vital. Unique individuals equals unique outcomes. So tailoring your approach with healthcare providers is necessary. All those media celebrities and support of and social media posts we see, they did not do it on their own. We know they had a team of people behind them, helping them, supporting them, and that is really important. And lastly, collaboration, communication, and adaptability is also vital. Working closely with professionals to ensure that you have the best plan now and later is important. And being willing to adapt and know that when bumps in the road occur, when something doesn't go as planned, there's a way we can figure this out so that you can still meet the goals that are important and matter to you. Good healthcare providers, good professionals who support you and care for you will be willing to make changes, make shifts, talk it out with you. And those are the types of professionals that you should be looking to partner with when you are considering medications like these. As another reminder, our Foodsmart team is here to help. There are registered dietitians just like me across the country that have all sorts of tools and resources. And one thing that's really amazing about Foodsmart is we can offer individualized, tailored nutrition counseling to individuals, but we can also provide you with programs. And programs are a really great way to learn more about yourself, your body, and how all of the different things we talked about today interact with the way your body works. Our Foodsmart programs have 12 modules generally. There's a new topic every week, and you get access not only to your registered dietitian, but also to our Foodsmart app for meal planning tools, recipes, grocery delivery, and more. And it can be customized to specific conditions and needs, of course, because we know the importance of that. And it can also be customized to help with your household nutrition structuring, because we know nutrition is not something that we do alone. It takes a village for sure when it comes to eating well. So if you want to get scheduled, as a reminder, it's foodsmart.com/schedule, and our promo code for today is WAIT to be entered to win a $250 prize. And with that, I'm going to pause and look at what our questions are today. I see a lot of things about insurance coverage for these medications. And that is something that I've noticed a lot as well in talking to individuals about these drugs. It really depends on your plan, on your conditions, what other medications you're on. All of those things are factors in determining if your plan will pay for the medication for you. If I had a crystal ball and I could look into the future, I think that more plans will start to cover these in the future. And that's why we are talking about these today, because I know that some people are thinking about it. Some doctors are bringing it up more and more in general appointments as the restrictions on insurance have shifted. And we want to make sure that you can make informed decisions. You can have great conversations with your healthcare professionals as you are moving forward and considering these things. Let me look and see some of the questions that we got here. Oh, a great one is, how likely are side effects? And that is an excellent question with a really vague answer. So each specific medication has its own set of side effects, and each will interact with your unique biology very differently. You can likely find common and unusual side effects both by searching each medication, but I do encourage you to talk to your doctor just like you would with any medication. Absolutely. Another question I'm seeing are, do these medications mess up your metabolism? I've heard that you have to stay on these for life. This is a great question. Lindsay, do you want to jump in and answer this one? I love this question so much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of questions we're getting about what happens afterwards. And you kind of touched on, the importance of nutrition and creating those habits. And so you have kind of a baseline of nutrition understanding and sort of, things to go back to once you stop taking a medication. But do they mess up your metabolism? I can speak to what happens generally when you are losing weight, when you are in a caloric deficit, which is essentially what this is creating, because you're reducing your appetite, right? And so you're eating less. And so you're creating a caloric deficit, and the medication kind of just makes it easier for you to do that. But ultimately, when you are in that state and you are losing weight, your metabolism does naturally and gradually downregulate. And that's why you'll see a lot of things about, regain or yo-yo dieting, or sort of losing a bunch of weight and then gaining it right back. And a lot of that is because your metabolism's downregulated to be used to using a reduced amount of energy. And if you drastically increase that right afterwards, it's not used to that much more energy. So a lot of that excess is then stored as usually fat, because your body, is grabbing onto all of that it's been deprived of. So that is sort of a universal truth with weight loss in general. Now, whether the drug specifically messes up your metabolism, there's not research that kind of points to that, but metabolism kind of changes are something to consider as you are losing weight. And the important thing to note there is to gradually, at the end of sort of your weight loss journey, increase those calories slowly over time, so that it gives your body to kind of gradually upregulate that metabolism that was slowed down.
Mm-hmm. Perfectly said, Lindsay. And metabolism used to be the big bad wolf of these kind of conversations. We'd have these not, 10, 20 years ago, even 5 years ago, we used to have these great conversations about all the wonderful things you can do with nutrition and how nutrition can reverse or greatly improve all these health conditions. And then when metabolism comes up, then people are like, great. So the chances of that actually happening are slim to none. That does not sound good to me, because metabolism just felt like something that we either had a good metabolism or we don't. And we can't control it. But what we realize now, like Lindsay just said, and I think this should feel, if nothing else, it should feel empowering to all of you. We know that your metabolism is just another system. It's just another part of your body functioning. And there are ways to work with it to make it work for you. And partially, just like many other systems in our bodies just doesn't want to be shocked by a massive change, because when a big change happens really, really fast, your body goes into fight or flight mode, essentially. And we can help avoid that with tailored nutrition, really guiding you back into a regular diet or a more standard diet, or even just a higher calorie diet, whatever is most comfortable for you. And slowly guiding it back means that we can then get our metabolism back to a place that is more positive. So that always makes me feel good when I get to talk about that nowadays versus, in the past, where it was like, well, I guess it is what it is, but it's just not that way anymore. We know a lot more now. That's a great answer.
Exactly. Yeah, just one quick thing to add to that in response to a kind of adjacent question, which is just generally what happens when you stop these medications. There's a long list of side effects and effects in general with these that I'm not going to run through, but as it relates to metabolism and sort of weight regain, because the medication suppresses appetite and because you're losing weight, both of those things mean once you stop that medication, your body is in an underfed state and it will overcompensate by making you feel really, really hungry. Again, just like kind of ending any sort of diet. So that makes what we just talked about, slowly and gradually increasing food, really hard, because what you want to do is eat, right? So it sort of points back to a lot of what Maddie has said about the importance of having someone guide you through that process. It's sort of complex and it goes against what you naturally want to do. And that makes it really, really hard to do. So it is possible to kind of sustain weight loss, but it is challenging. And so, yeah, I would again encourage and kind of reinforce the importance of working with someone throughout that process.
Yes. And that really ties into all the things that we're learning nowadays, which is that, nutrition is so tied to our behavioral health, because hunger and satiety is an actual bodily, it's an actual cue, it's an actual feeling, but it also exists in our brains as well. And so when you have somebody who can look at how you're feeling and say, okay, is this a brain cue or a body cue or both? How do we work through that? How do we help you? Maybe we don't just work through it. Maybe we try something different. Maybe we do something different, but having somebody there to work through not only the physiological piece, but the behavioral piece, we know how important that is now. And I think that's just changed the way that we look at nutrition and can be really empowering for individuals. Another question I'm getting is, can dietitians offer these medications? And that's a great question, but no, registered dietitians cannot prescribe or necessarily refer individuals to physicians for these medications. We can inform and chat about them with you and help you make informed decisions, but the decision is ultimately up to the individual and their prescribing physician or specialist. Great question. And let's see what other questions we've got here. We've got some really great ones. Does this work without a healthy diet? That's a good one. If I ate healthier, weight loss would be a lot easier. So I know that changing your diet is really, really hard, but what a healthy diet is also varies from person to person. We talk about whole grains and non-starchy vegetables, fruits, all those things, but that can be something very different to one person as it is to somebody else. So if you are really scared by the concept of a healthy diet, if you're like, that's not for me, I'm a junk foodie, that's my favorite thing, I'm right there with you, by the way. That is me as well. There are ways around that, though. There are ways where you can incorporate things that you love, that are important to you emotionally, that are important to your relationships, to your family, to your traditions. There really are ways to make a diet healthy, even if it's not traditional, even if it's not the norm and it's not the olive oil and the hummus, right? There are so many things. So don't let the term healthy diet scare you from making a change. Absolutely can make that work. And can the medication work without a healthy diet? Technically, yes. But when you are not on that medication anymore, or if you find yourself ill or you have other conditions, not having good nutrition can be really harmful for other functions that your body needs to have to be well overall, not only during medication use, but after too. All right, we have some really, really great questions here. And I think, though, we are at the end of our time. Oh my goodness, it went so quickly. Wow, Lindsay, we had some wonderful participation and support and questions as I'm like going through our chat. I'm trying to see if we have one more that we can answer before we part for today.
There's a quick one that I just want to clarify. So someone asked whether you can take these medications with type 1 diabetes. So that's an important distinction, because we did say that this is originally a medication for diabetes. Specifically, that is FDA approved for type 2 diabetes, and it is not FDA approved for type 1 diabetes. There are research studies that show potential effectiveness there, but it isn't officially approved. So again, that's a great example of why it's important to talk with your doctor, especially if you're just considering these medications for weight loss, about potential other conditions that could interact there.
Awesome. Well, that does bring us to the end of our time together today. We are capturing all the questions and making note of them for future webinars and different materials that we can send out and share with you. But just wanted to thank you all so much for taking the time to be here with us today. It is always such a joy and a pleasure to get to share information with you. We will be sending out the recording over the next couple of days, so keep an eye on your email for that. And just a reminder that you can be entered in our webinar giveaway for $250 Amazon gift card, or our Healthy Habits bundle with the Pyrex container and a Fitbit if you go to our website and schedule an appointment with an RD. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here, and we will see you next month for our next one. Bye, everybody. Take care.